The stars had never looked so beautiful to Ambassador Hana Kim as they did through the wide windows of the Harmony's dream. She stood in the observation deck, watching the alien ships move around them like silver dancers in the darkness of space. 3 weeks ago, these same ships had appeared at the edge of Earth's solar system, sending peaceful messages in perfect English. "Ambassador, they're ready for you in the meeting room," said Wu Jin, walking up behind her. The young communications officer had been working day and night to make sure every word between humans and aliens was translated correctly. His dark hair was messy from stress, but his eyes were bright with excitement. Hana nodded and smoothed down her blue diplomatic uniform. Today was the most important day in human history. Today, they would sign the first peace agreement with an alien race. The meeting room was filled with soft light and the sweet smell of flowers that the aliens had brought as gifts. Captain Tae-ho sat at the far end of the table, his military uniform clean and pressed. He was a good man, careful but not afraid. Next to him sat So-young, the team's expert on alien life. She had been studying the visitors for weeks, trying to understand how they lived and thought. Min-soo stood near the wall, watching everything with sharp eyes. As the military advisor, he didn't trust easily. He had argued against this meeting many times, saying it was too dangerous. But Earth's leaders wanted peace, and peace required taking risks. Soo-jin was checking her tablet in the corner, making sure all the ship's systems were running well. The young engineer had been amazed by the alien technology they had seen. Their ships were so advanced, so beautiful. They moved without making any sound, and their hulls seemed to be made of living crystal. The door opened with a soft sound, and the aliens entered. Hana had seen them many times now, but they still took her breath away. The Villani were tall and thin, with skin that looked like blue glass. When light hit them, they sparkled like diamonds. Their leader, Kethral, moved with grace that made human walking look clumsy. "Friends of Earth," Kethral said in his musical voice, "today we join our peoples in harmony." The words came out in perfect English, though Hana knew the alien was actually speaking in frequencies that sounded like singing. "We are honored," Hana replied, standing and bowing slightly. "Humanity has dreamed of this day for thousands of years." Kethral's large eyes seemed to glow with happiness. "Your species brings such beauty to the galaxy. Your music, your art, your stories, they fill our hearts with joy. We wish to learn from you, and we hope you will learn from us." So-young leaned forward, unable to hide her excitement. "Your medical technology could save millions of human lives. The diseases that have hurt us for so long, you could help us cure them. And your energy systems," Soo-jin added. "They could give us clean power for centuries. No more pollution, no more fighting over oil and gas." Kethral's head moved, and what humans had learned was their way of nodding. "Yes, we offer these gifts freely. All we ask in return is friendship and cultural exchange. Your art moves us in ways we cannot explain. Your music speaks to something deep in our souls." Captain Tae-ho spoke carefully. "And what of our defenses? Many humans worry about leaving Earth unprotected." "Captain," Kethral said with what sounded like sadness, "we have moved beyond such primitive concerns. War is a relic of the past. In the Villani Confederation, all species live in peace. There is no need for weapons when all beings choose harmony." Min-soo's jaw tightened, but he said nothing. Hana had ordered him to stay quiet during the main talks. The hours passed quickly as they discussed the details of the agreement. The Villani would share their technology slowly, making sure humans could understand and use it safely. Humans would share their cultural treasures, paintings, songs, books, and films. It seemed perfect. Wu Jin worked hard to make sure every word was translated right. Sometimes he had to stop the talks to check meanings. The Villani language was beautiful but complex, full of sounds that human ears could barely hear. "There is one thing," Kethral said near the end of the meeting. "To show our complete trust, we ask that all human ships in this area lower their defensive shields. It is an old tradition among our people, a sign that we truly believe in peace." Hana looked at Captain Tae-ho, who looked uncomfortable. "Our shields aren't weapons," the captain said. "They're just protection." "We understand," Kethral replied. "But symbols matter. When we first met the Torani people, this gesture of trust helped our peoples become close friends. Now they are valued members of our confederation." So-young was looking at her notes with a strange expression. She had been studying the biological samples the Villani had shared, and something was bothering her. But before she could speak, Hana made her decision. "We agree," the ambassador said. "Tomorrow, when we sign the final papers, our ships will lower their shields." Min-soo stepped forward. Ambassador, I must— Thank you, Minsu, Hana said firmly, cutting him off. But this is a diplomatic matter. The meeting ended with smiles and gentle music that the Villani played through their ship's communication system. As the aliens left, their crystal-like forms seemed to shimmer with happiness. But Sujin was frowning at her tablet. Her sensors had picked up something strange during the meeting. The Villani ships were giving off energy readings that didn't match what peaceful vessels should have. The patterns looked more like weapons. She shook her head. It was probably just their advanced technology working in ways humans didn't understand yet. Tomorrow would be a new day for humanity, a day of peace and friendship among the stars. Outside the ship, 37 Villani vessels maintained their perfect formation around the human fleet. To human eyes, they looked like protectors, but their weapons were charged and ready, waiting for the moment when Earth's children would make themselves completely helpless. The trap was almost complete. 3 days had passed since the signing ceremony, and the human fleet was celebrating. Every ship was decorated with lights, and the crews were sharing food and stories with their alien guests. Hana Kim watched the festivities from her office, feeling proud of what they had accomplished. The peace agreement was beautiful. Printed on special paper that changed colors in the light, it promised a future where humans and aliens would work together. The Villani had given them samples of medicine that could cure cancer and technology that could clean the oceans. In return, humans had shared their greatest treasures: music from every culture on Earth, paintings that showed the beauty of human emotions, and books that told stories of love and hope. A soft chime told her that Catherall wanted to speak with her. She pressed a button, and the alien's musical voice filled the room. "Dear Ambassador," he said, "we have one final request to complete our bond of trust." Hana smiled. "Of course, Catherall. What can we do?" "We ask that all human vessels power down their defensive systems completely. Not just the shields, but all weapons and military equipment. It is the ultimate gesture of trust among peaceful peoples." Hana felt a small worry in her chest. "That seems extensive. Our people might feel nervous about being completely defenseless." "I understand their fear," Catherall replied. "But fear is what causes war. We must show the galaxy that true peace is possible. When other species see humans and Villani together, with no weapons between us, they will know that the age of violence is ending." Before Hana could answer, Minsu burst into her office. His face was red with anger and worry. "Ambassador, I need to speak with you immediately," he said. "Minsu, I'm in the middle of—" "Please," he interrupted, something he had never done before. "It's urgent." Hana sighed. "Catherall, may I call you back in a few minutes?" "Of course, friend Hana, we will wait." The communication ended, and Hana turned to face her military advisor. "This better be important, Minsu. You just interrupted a conversation with—" "They're lying," Minsu said quickly. "The Villani are lying about everything." Hana stared at him. "What are you talking about?" Minsu activated his tablet and showed her a 3-dimensional map of space around them. "Look at their ship positions. They're not protecting us, they're surrounding us. Every escape route is blocked. These aren't escort positions, they're attack formations. Maybe that's just how they— And their weapons," Minsu continued. "Sujin has been scanning them secretly. Every Villani ship has enough firepower to destroy a city. These aren't exploration vessels, Ambassador. They're warships." Hana felt cold suddenly. "That doesn't mean they plan to use them, doesn't it?" Minsu brought up another screen. Wu Jin found something in the translation records. He's been going back through all our conversations, checking the original Villani words against what their computers told us they meant. The door opened, and Wu Jin himself walked in. The young man looked sick with worry. "Ambassador," he said, "I think we've made a terrible mistake." Wu Jin sat down and opened his own tablet. "I've been studying their language day and night, learning the real meanings of their words. Their translation system has been changing things." "And what do you mean?" Hana asked. "When Catherall talks about harmony, the Villani word he actually uses means submission. When he says confederation, the real word means empire. And when he talks about species being valued members, the original phrase means useful servants." Hana's hands began to shake. "That can't be right." "Check again." "I've checked 100 times, Wu Jin said sadly. "Yesterday, when Catherall mentioned the Terrani people joining them peacefully, I looked up that word, Terrani. In their oldest records, it doesn't mean a species name. It means the conquered. The communication system chimed again. Kethral's voice returned, but now it sounded different to Hana's ears. "Ambassador, have you considered our request?" Hana looked at Min Su and Wu Jin, then made a decision that felt like jumping off a cliff. "Kethral, we need more time to discuss this with our crews." There was a pause. When Kethral spoke again, his voice was cooler. "Of course. But please do not take too long. The galaxy is watching this historic moment." The communication ended. Hana tried to call Captain Tae-ho, but the line was dead. She tried Sujin's engineering section. Nothing. All communications between the ships had been cut. "They're jamming us," Wu Jin said, checking his equipment. "All our signals are being blocked." On her desk, Hana's personal tablet began showing a message from So Young. The scientist had been working in the medical bay, studying the biological samples the Villani had given them. Her message was short but terrifying. Emergency. The Villani samples contain genetic material from dozens of different species. These aren't gifts, they're trophies. Evidence of conquests. The medical technology isn't meant to help us, it's designed to change us, to make us more controllable. Don't trust anything they've given us. Alarms began ringing throughout the ship. Through her window, Hana could see Villani soldiers in silver suits floating through space toward the human vessels. They moved fast, too fast, with technology that made them almost invisible. Minsu was already putting on his combat gear. "Ambassador, we need to get to the emergency shelter now." "Wait," Hana said. She opened the ship's general communication system, hoping it could still reach her own crew. "This is Ambassador Kim to all human personnel. We are under attack. The Villani are not our friends. Resist and survive. Tell Earth what happened here." Explosions shook the ship. Through the walls, Hana could hear the sound of fighting as Villani soldiers cut through the hull. Minsu grabbed her arm and pulled her toward the door. "There's an emergency transmitter in the escape pod bay," he said. "Military frequency. If we can reach it." They ran through corridors filled with smoke and flashing lights. Human crew members were fighting with whatever weapons they could find. But the Villani soldiers were too advanced, too prepared. Their crystal-like armor seemed to absorb human bullets like water. In the escape pod bay, Sujin was already working on the transmitter with bloody hands. "I can get one message out," she said, "but it'll take everything we have." Minsu helped her connect the wires while Hana watched the door. The sounds of fighting were getting closer. "What should I say?" Sujin asked. Hana thought for a moment, then spoke clearly. "Iron Wind, this is Harmony's dream. First contact failed. The Villani are conquerors, not friends. They have weapons and soldiers. Our fleet is captured. Tell Earth never trust the peaceful ones. Always keep something hidden." Sujin sent the message just as Villani soldiers broke through the door. The last thing Hana saw before everything went dark was Kethral himself, his crystal face showing no emotion as he looked down at the captured humans. "Your species will make excellent servants," he said in perfect English, just like all the others. Far away, beyond the edge of the solar system, a hidden ship received the message. In the darkness between the planets, the Iron Wind began to move. Captain Daewon had been waiting in the darkness for 23 days. His ship, the Iron Wind, floated silently among the asteroids beyond Pluto, invisible to any sensors that might be looking for it. When the emergency message came through, he was not surprised. He had been expecting it. "Captain," said Ji-Hai, turning from her position at the tactical station. Her voice was calm, but her hands were tight on her controls. "We're receiving Ambassador Kim's transmission now." The bridge of the Iron Wind was dark except for the soft glow of computer screens. Unlike the bright, comfortable diplomatic ships, this vessel was built for war. Every surface was metal and plastic, designed to work even when damaged. The crew wore black uniforms with no decorations except their names and ranks. "Play it," Daewon said. Hana Kim's voice filled the bridge, broken by static but clear enough to understand. When the message ended, the bridge was silent for a long moment. Young Min looked up from his computer station. "Sir, I'm detecting multiple explosions in the diplomatic fleet area. The Villani ships they're destroying our vessels. How many survivors?" asked Hae-Wan from the weapons control station. "Unknown. The Villani are jamming all communications in that area." Captain Daewon stood up slowly. He was older than most of his crew, with gray hair and lines around his eyes. He had been fighting wars since he was young, and he knew the look of defeat when he saw it. But defeat was not the end. Sometimes it was just the beginning. "Young Min, show me what you have on the Villani fleet." The main screen lit up with a tactical display. 37 alien ships surrounded the wreckage of the human diplomatic fleet, like wolves around a kill. The ships were beautiful, crystalline structures that caught starlight and threw it back in rainbow patterns. They looked like art, not weapons. "They're not moving," observed Mi Young from her electronic warfare station. "They're just sitting there." "Waiting," said Captain Daewon. "They think they've won." Kyung Ho, the ship's strategist, was studying the Villani formation. "Sir, their positioning is perfect for destroying our diplomatic ships, but it leaves them vulnerable to attack from outside their formation." "They don't expect an attack," Ji-hai said. "They think all human ships are accounted for." Captain Daewon walked to the center of the bridge where a holographic display showed the entire solar system. Earth was a blue dot in the distance, unaware that its first contact with aliens had become a disaster. Mars colonies were going about their normal business. The asteroid miners were still digging for metals. None of them knew that humanity was about to lose its independence. "Sir," Young Min said quietly, "I've been analyzing Villani communication patterns for the past 3 weeks. They're not what they seem." "Explain." Young Min brought up a series of graphs and charts. Their ships communicate with each other constantly, but not like explorers or diplomats would. The patterns match pack hunters. They coordinate like predators surrounding prey. And their technology, added Haiwan, is specifically designed for conquering other species. Those beautiful crystal hulls? They're actually incredibly advanced armor. Their ships don't just have weapons, they have boarding equipment, capture devices, and what looks like prison facilities. Captain Daewon nodded slowly. This confirmed what Earth's military had suspected for years. When the first alien signals had been detected, long before official first contact, some people had argued for caution. The politicians had wanted peaceful contact, but the generals had insisted on preparing for the worst. The Iron Wind was the result of that preparation. Built in secret asteroid facilities, it used technology reverse-engineered from crashed alien probes that most people didn't know existed. It was designed to fight enemies that Earth had never met, using weapons that Earth wasn't supposed to have. "Status report." Daewon ordered. "Stealth systems at 100%, reported Mi Young. "We're completely invisible to their sensors." "Weapon systems charged and ready," said Hai. 1. All antimatter torpedoes loaded, plasma cannons online, gravitational disruptors standing by. "Electronic warfare packages prepared," Mi Young added. "I can create false sensor signatures for up to 20 additional ships." "Sir," Kyung Ho said, "I recommend we make them think they're facing an entire fleet. If they believe we have multiple vessels, they might retreat instead of fighting to the death." Captain Daewon considered this. The Iron Wind was powerful, but 37 enemy ships were still 37 enemy ships. However, if the Villani thought they were facing a hidden human fleet instead of one vessel, "Do it," he decided. "But first we send a message to Earth." He walked to the communication station and activated the long-range transmitter. "This is Captain Daewon of the Iron Wind to Earth Defense Command. The diplomatic mission has failed. Repeat, first contact has failed. The aliens are hostile. We are implementing Protocol 7. Tell the families of the diplomatic crew that they died as heroes. Tell Earth to prepare for war." He ended the transmission and turned to face his crew. These men and women had volunteered for a mission that might require them to start humanity's first interstellar war. They were ready. "All stations prepare for combat. Mi Young begin creating false ship signatures. I want the Villani to think they're surrounded by ghost ships." "Yes, sir." "How many ghosts should I create?" Daewon smiled, but it was not a kind smile. "All of them. Make them think Earth's entire hidden fleet just appeared." The Iron Wind began to move through the asteroid field, its powerful engines making no sound in the vacuum of space. Behind it, electronic phantoms began to appear on Villani sensors. 20 invisible ships that existed only as clever lies told by Mi Young's computers. "Sir," Young Min reported, "the Villani fleet is detecting our false signatures. They're panicking." "Good," Captain Daewon said. "Let them panic. Let them realize that they underestimated humanity. In 5 minutes we decloak and show them what happens when you threaten Earth's children." The bridge crew worked in silence, each person focused on their role in what was about to happen. They were no longer hiding. They were hunting. And somewhere in the darkness, 37 Volani ships were about to learn that humans had been preparing for this moment much longer than anyone realized. The Iron Wind dropped its stealth field just as Kethril began broadcasting to the galaxy. The massive human warship appeared directly behind the Volani flagship, like a shadow becoming real. Where the alien vessels were beautiful and crystalline, the Iron Wind was dark metal and sharp angles, a predator built for killing. "Contact," shouted Jihai from her tactical station. "All Volani ships are turning toward us." Sir, they look confused. On the main screen, Captain Day 1 could see the alien ships spinning in space as their sensors tried to understand what had just happened. The Iron Wind was 3 times larger than their biggest vessel, covered in weapons that the Volani had never seen before. "Sir," Young Min reported, "their communications are going crazy. They're asking each other how we got so close without being detected. And our ghost fleet?" Day 1 asked. Mi Young smiled as her fingers danced over her controls. 23 Phantom ships now surrounding them, sir. To their sensors, we brought an entire battle fleet out of nowhere. Kethril's voice came over the communication system, but now it was high and frightened instead of musical and calm. "Unknown human vessel, you were not part of the diplomatic fleet. How did you—" "Kethril," Captain Day 1 interrupted, his voice cold as space itself. "I am Captain Day 1 of the Terran Defense Force. You made a mistake." "I don't understand. Your diplomatic ships had no weapons. Your species has no military technology that could threaten us." Day 1 almost laughed. "Did you really think we would meet unknown aliens with only our best behavior and our biggest smiles? Did you think we would trust you completely just because you said pretty words?" On the tactical display, Jihai was highlighting targets. "Sir, I have firing solutions on their command ships. Recommend we take out their leadership first." "Do it." The Iron Wind's main guns fired for the first time in combat. Beams of focused plasma tore through space and struck 3 Volani command vessels. The alien ships, designed to fight against primitive weapons, were not prepared for concentrated antimatter. "They simply stopped existing. Direct hits," Jihai reported. 3 enemy vessels destroyed. The remaining Volani ships began to move, forming defensive patterns. But their movements were panicked, confused. They had expected to fight humans with chemical rockets and metal bullets, not humans with weapons that bent gravity and turned matter into energy. "Sir," Haywan called from the weapons station, "firing gravitational disruptors now." The disruptors were humanity's most secret weapon, built from technology found in crashed alien ships decades ago. They created fields of twisted gravity that tore other vessels apart from the inside. The Volani crystal hulls, so beautiful and strong, cracked like glass in an earthquake. "Impossible," Kethral's voice whispered over the communications. "Your species is primitive. You have no space navy. You have no advanced weapons." "You're right," Day 1 replied. "We didn't have a space navy. We built one in secret just for you. We didn't have advanced weapons. We made them from the pieces of ships like yours that have been visiting our system for years." Young Min was monitoring alien communications. "Sir, they're reporting to someone called the Confederation High Command. They're saying they've encountered an unknown human military force." "Let them report," Day 1 said. "Let the galaxy know that Earth is not defenseless." Mi Young's electronic warfare systems went to work. She hacked into the Volani communication networks and began broadcasting on all frequencies. Images filled every screen in the alien fleet. Pictures of the conquered species that the Volani had collected. Genetic samples from dozens of different worlds. Evidence of centuries of conquest and slavery. "What are you doing?" Kethril demanded. "Telling the truth," Mi Young answered over the open channel, showing the galaxy what the peaceful Volani Confederation really is. "How many species have you enslaved? How many worlds have you conquered with your promises of harmony?" The alien fleet was trying to retreat now, but Kyung-ho had planned for this. The phantom ships that Mi Young had created were blocking every escape route. To the Volani sensors, they were surrounded by dozens of human warships. "You're trapped," Captain Day 1 announced. "Your ships, your crews, your leader, all trapped by humans you thought were primitive and helpless." "How many ships do you have?" Kethril asked, his voice breaking with fear. "How long have you been watching us?" Day 1 looked around his bridge at the crew who had trained for years for this moment. Jihai at tactical, her weapons ready to defend humanity. Young Min at intelligence, his computers full of alien secrets. Ma Young at electronic warfare, her programs rewriting the galaxy's understanding of Earth. Hay 1 at weapons control, her fingers on triggers that could destroy worlds. Kyung-ho at strategy, his mind always 3 moves ahead of the enemy. "Long enough," he said finally. "We've been watching you since your first scout ships entered our system. We've been preparing since we learned what you really are. Did you think we would build one ship? Did you think we would trust the safety of our species to a single vessel?" We demand safe passage," Kethril stammered. "Under galactic law." "What law?" Daewon asked. "The law that says stronger species can enslave weaker ones? The law that says conquest is legal if you call it peace. You wrote those laws, Kethril. We're writing new ones." The rescued human survivors were being brought aboard the Iron Wind. Hana Kim, injured but alive, was helped onto the bridge. Min-soo followed her, his arm in a medical support but his eyes bright with anger and hope. "Ambassador," Captain Daewon said, nodding respectfully, "I'm sorry we couldn't save more of your people." Hana looked at the tactical display, showing the Vellani fleet surrounded by phantom ships. "How long has Earth been preparing for this?" "Since the first alien probe crashed in the Pacific Ocean 12 years ago," Daewon replied. "Since we realized we weren't alone and that being alone might have been safer." "Sir," Jihai interrupted, "more Vellani ships are entering the system. Looks like reinforcements. How many?" 73 vessels, sir. "They're demanding the release of this fleet." Captain Daewon smiled, and this time it was not cold at all. It was the smile of a predator who had been waiting a very long time to show his teeth. "Tell them," he said, "that they're welcome to try to take their friends back. Tell them that Earth's children are ready to play." The Iron Wind powered up its engines and turned toward the new threat, while around it, 23 ghost ships that existed only in computers prepared to fight alongside it. The Vellani had come looking for easy prey and found apex predators instead. The galaxy was about to learn that humans had been hiding much more than one ship. 6 months after the Battle of the Outer System, Admiral Hana Kim stood on the observation deck of Terra Station, watching ships from across the galaxy dock at humanity's new diplomatic center. The massive orbital platform hung in space like a metal flower, its arms reaching out to welcome visitors who came now with respect instead of hunger. "Admiral," said Captain Tae-ho, walking up beside her. He wore the new uniform of the Terran Defense Force, dark blue with silver trim. His captain's bars had been joined by medals for courage and survival. "The Kitharan delegation has arrived. They're requesting immediate alliance talks." Hana nodded. The Kitharans were the 7th species this month to seek friendship with humanity. Word had spread quickly through the galaxy about the Phantom Fleet Builders, the humans who had appeared from nowhere to destroy the mighty Vellani Confederation. "How many ships do they think we have now?" she asked. Tae-ho smiled. "The latest reports say anywhere from 300 to 3,000. The rumors get bigger every time someone tells the story." Through the station's transparent walls, Hana could see the Iron Wind docked at the military section. Captain Daewon's ship had become famous across known space, the vessel that had single-handedly broken the Vellani fleet. But most aliens didn't know it was still the only real warship in Earth's fleet. "Admiral Kim," came a voice behind them. Hana turned to see So Young approaching, carrying a tablet full of medical data. The scientist had recovered from her injuries, and now led the rehabilitation program for freed alien slaves. "I have an update on the Terrani recovery project. Good news, I hope?" So Young's face was bright with satisfaction. "Better than good. We've successfully reversed the genetic modifications the Vellani made to their species. The first group is ready to return to their home world, as free beings for the first time in 300 years. At another docking arm, a group of tall, blue-skinned beings walked carefully through the airlock. These were former Vellani, members of the original conquering race who had survived the collapse of their empire. They moved with the hesitant steps of people who had lost everything. "The Vellani refugees are requesting a meeting," Tae-ho said quietly. "Their leader wants to apologize personally." "Let them wait," Hana replied. "They can learn patience." Near the military docks, Wu Jin was training a group of alien communications officers in human translation protocols. The young man had become an expert in detecting lies hidden in diplomatic language. His students, former slaves from a dozen different species, listened carefully as he explained how to spot deception in peaceful words. "Remember," Wu Jin told them, "always check the original meaning. Always verify the translation. Trust is earned, not given." In the weapons testing area, Haiwan was demonstrating human military technology to a group of amazed alien engineers. The gravitational disruptors that had torn apart Villani ships now helped move asteroids and build space stations. The plasma cannons that had ended an empire now provided clean energy to entire worlds. Your species turns weapons into tools, one of the alien engineers said with wonder. Most species do the opposite, Haiwan shrugged. We learned that the best weapon is one you never have to use. But we also learned that having it ready keeps the peace. Deep in the station's intelligence center, young men worked with Mi Young to maintain the greatest deception in human history. Their computers constantly generated false signals and phantom ship signatures, making it look like Earth had fleets hidden throughout the galaxy. Alien governments seeking Earth's friendship never knew they were negotiating with shadows. How long do you think we can keep this up? Mi Young asked as she adjusted another set of fake sensor readings. As long as necessary, Young Min replied. Maybe forever. Fear of the unknown is often stronger than fear of the known. In the diplomatic quarters, Captain Day-One met with representatives from the former Villani territories. These were species that had been enslaved for generations and were now trying to rebuild their civilizations. They looked at him with something close to worship. Commander Day-One, said the Kytheran representative, a being that looked like a walking crystal tree. Our people wish to know, how many fleets does Earth really command? Day-One sipped his coffee and looked out at the stars. Enough, he said simply. We have enough ships to protect our friends and punish our enemies. That's all anyone needs to know. The alien representative nodded respectfully and didn't ask again. Later that day, Hana Kim stood before the Galactic Assembly via holographic projection. Representatives from hundreds of worlds watched as she announced the Terra Doctrine, humanity's new policy for interstellar relations. Earth offers friendship to all peaceful species, she said, her voice carrying across light years. We offer protection to the weak and justice to the oppressed, but we also offer a warning to any who would harm innocent beings. She paused, letting her words sink into every listening alien mind. Humanity tried peace first. We offered trust and received treachery. We offered friendship and received slavery. We will not make that mistake again. Any species that chooses to be our enemy will discover that Earth's children are very, very good at war. The transmission ended, and Hana walked to her private office. There, waiting for her, was a message from Earth. It was from Min Su, now the head of Xenological Security. His message was short but important. Admiral, we've detected 3 more alien species at the edge of our system. They're approaching slowly and broadcasting peaceful intentions. Orders? Hana smiled and typed her reply. Full diplomatic protocol. But keep the iron wind nearby. And Min Su, make sure they know we're watching. She sent the message and looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there, alien species were telling stories about the humans who had appeared from nowhere to break the strongest empire in the galaxy. They spoke in whispers about the phantom fleet that could strike anywhere without warning. They warned their children about the species that smiled when they talked of peace, but kept their warships ready. The galaxy had wanted to make humanity into prey. Instead, they had created the apex predators they now feared. And Hana Kim, former ambassador turned admiral, keeper of humanity's greatest secret, was perfectly fine with that. In a universe full of wolves, it was better to be the one they were afraid of. Outside her window, the iron wind hung in space like a sleeping dragon, ready to wake if anyone threatened Earth's children again. It was still the only real warship humanity had, but the galaxy didn't need to know that.